Now, we know that glyphosate and, moreover, the entire formulation of Roundup, which is what they used, is very toxic, and it has all sorts of effects on the body. And it was declared by the World Health Organization as a probable human carcinogen, class 2A. Now, they also determined that it is definitely a carcinogen for animals. So when we're talking about pets, it's not probable, it is an animal carcinogen, according to the World Health Organization's iarc committee, which makes the determination for the world. Now, are our animals being exposed to a lot of Roundup? The answer is yes. We just got some tests done, and it looks like, and also Anthony Samsel did some tests, it looks like this is the median level of glyphosate found in 29 common snack foods in humans, and this is the average, okay? And these are the results from pet food. Okay, this is a balanced for cats, Purina cat chow. This is Meow Mix cat food. This is Purina Pro Plan. This is Blue Buffalo Life Protection Formula with Life Source bits. And then the Hills diet was a bit less, and the Taste of the Wild was less. But it shows that it was higher than the average human diet in terms of the amount of glyphosate. And if we had only two samples of pet urine, and this is the urine from a non-farmer in Iowa, this is the farmer in Iowa, and this is the urine in the dogs.
Wow.
Glyphosate, they have actually shown to alter the microbiome. It was actually patented as an antibiotic, as well as their other patents. It is patented as an antibiotic. But when you start altering the gut, you know, you look at the, you know, we tend to do pieces and parts medicine in standard medicine or Western medicine. But you can't. You have to look at the whole picture. And when you start altering the microbial population of the gut, you alter a whole spectrum of things that are occurring.
Let me give you a description of what it does. We know that it's a carcinogen for animals and probable carcinogen for humans. It is patented as an antibiotic. Now, if we eat it or we digest it in some way, we have our microbiome, our gut bacteria. That is important for detoxification, for the immune system, and for digestion. The glyphosate more readily kills the beneficial bacteria like Lactobacillus and bifidus, the stuff we want, the stuff we buy in the probiotics. It's harder, it doesn't kill easily the salmonella, the botulism, the negative E. coli, and so it can cause a dysbiosis, an imbalance of the gut bacteria. Now, the imbalance of the gut bacteria is linked to cancer. One way that it's linked to cancer is that it can cause gaps between the cells of the intestines. Glyphosate alone, if you just put it in a test tube with human cells, it'll cause gaps. So the glyphosate or the gut bacteria can lead to gaps in the walls of the intestines. That's called leaky gut. Leaky gut is linked to cancer. Also heart disease, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, autism, autoimmune disease, inflammation, and allergies, among others. It also is a mitochondrial toxin. Well, you know, Otto Warburg talked about the mitochondrial theory of cancer, and there's a couple of reasons why glyphosate might be toxic to the mitochondria. It chelates, that's another property of it. It binds with minerals, making them unavailable, and mitochondria require certain trace minerals in order to function. I was talking to Zach Bush, who founded Restore. He's been looking at cells under the microscope for years with glyphosate added, and he thinks it's how it destroys a certain protein structure in the mitochondria. Either way, the mitochondria is linked to cancer. And so you end up with a situation where the bacteria is a problem, the leaky gut is a problem, the mitochondria is a problem, and then you have endocrine disruption. There was a study that hasn't been replicated where tiny amounts of glyphosate caused the multiplication of human breast cancer cells at parts per trillion.
That's really alarming. Glyphosate was shown to cause human breast cancer growth at parts per trillion, and the World Health Organization classified glyphosate as a probable human carcinogen. But as Jeffrey Smith just mentioned, it is a known carcinogen in animals. It's very likely that glyphosate, which is being sprayed on corn, soy, wheat, and dozens of other crops, was one of the reasons why our dog Grizzly was throwing up all the time. Just because glyphosate doesn't kill you or your pet immediately does not make it safe. The health-robbing effects are actually slow and insidious over months and even years. Let's get back to our experts explaining how glyphosate can damage the body's detoxification system as well as the mitochondria, which are the power plants of our cells, and how this may actually be one of the mechanisms by which it actually causes cancer.
We know that glyphosate affects the mitochondria. We know that. We know that it affects the detoxification system of the body. And this, I think, is particularly concerning when we say, if I give you a poison, you have a detoxification system in your liver and your skin and your lung and your intestinal tract and digestive system to remove and get these toxins out. Well, this concept of bioaccumulation applies to glyphosate. It seems to accumulate. And once we start talking about bioaccumulation, now we got a bigger issue. So on one hand, this is a bioaccumulative toxin, so it builds up in the body. And on the other hand, it's damaging the part of the body that has to do with detoxification. So that actually is a synergistic effect to promulgate the whole effect.
It's like a double whammy.
Right. And then the research, a lot of the research on glyphosate has been done only on glyphosate, just on the molecule glyphosate, but not as the product is actually used with other solvents and solutes. And when we actually look at the combination of glyphosate with the other solvents, then it seems to be more dangerous. And I'm not calling for the elimination of glyphosate or the destruction of Monsanto or any of this kind of stuff. But what I'm saying is that we need to look at these things. As scientists, you know, sort of the definition of science is looking and then reporting what we find instead of not looking and saying, well, don't worry about that. That's not a science. Don't worry about that. It's not a scientific thing. And we know that when you put glyphosate with other toxins, that it's a synergistic toxin. It becomes more dangerous in combination.
But the bottom line is that there's a variety of different factors that contribute to the mitochondria, which are the energy producing structures within your cells that create the energy currency of the cell ATP. And when these get damaged, and enough of them get damaged, they predispose the body to developing not only cancer but heart disease, diabetes, dementia, Alzheimer's, other neurodegenerative diseases.
So when we look at things with this analysis idea where we break everything up into little pieces and then we say, well, this much and this much is safe, so you can eat those and don't worry about that. But nobody looks at what happens when you put this much and this much of these 2 toxins together, or these 5 toxins, or these 10 toxins. So everybody's trying to fight cancer, right? So once you have the tumor, what do we do? But I think the bigger question is, what do we do to keep you from getting the tumor, right? So if we look at where the tumors come from, then the whole problem is actually that what's occurring is that we're interfering with metabolism. And what's really fascinating is what we know right now is that the part of the cell that makes energy, that's called the mitochondria, is the beginning of all chronic disease. Arthritis, diabetes, Alzheimer's, immune failures, cancer, they all start with injury to this little mitochondria. And so we should be asking questions about how can we protect those mitochondria, and then when we do that, we're reducing the incidence of diabetes, we're reducing the incidence of this, and also we're reducing the incidence of cancer.
Mitochondria can be damaged, leading on the path to cancer. Okay, so as Warburg said, if the mitochondria are acutely damaged, the cell dies. It suffocates and dies, and you never get a cancer cell from a dead cell. So it's only when the damage to the respiration is a chronic cumulative type of damage, allowing the cell to upregulate the ancient pathway of fermentation. If a cell cannot upregulate fermentation and the respiration is defective, the cell dies. And that's why you rarely get cancer from neurons in the brain, because neurons in the brain can't ferment for very long. They die. The glial cells, the other cells that support the neurons, they can ferment. They form cancers. Heart rarely forms tumors, because if the cardiomyocyte energy gets damaged, you get a heart attack. The heart can't function, so the body dies. And same with some of the muscles that have a lot of mitochondria. It's those cells, like liver cells, lung cells, breast cells, most of the cells in our body, they use oxygen and they get energy, but they also have an ability to upregulate the ancient pathway.
I know it's getting a little bit technical, but understanding this information is vital. What does Dr. Seyfried mean when he says that some cells have the ability to upregulate the ancient pathway? He's talking about fermentation or burning sugar for fuel. Now you might say, I don't feed my pet any sugar, but is that accurate? Is there actually a hidden problem lurking within the pet food manufacturing process?
The problem, Ty, today is how that food's made. If you were to ask me, what is it about today's food primarily that would be jacking that cancer rate the way it is? Nobody has any idea how kibble, processed food, those little pellets that you pull off the shelf, is actually made. Nobody. They don't know that you need an extruder to make those beautiful little pellets. Basically, you are heating the food up to a point where it almost liquefies, comes out in a dryer through little dyes, and it turns into a pellet. But the question is, well, how is that pellet made? The manufacturer can't make that pellet without sugar.
Without sugar?
Without sugar.
Okay.
Starch. You can't make it. You have to use minimum 40% starches, which are converted to sugars, to make those round balls. Wow. 40%. The worst part is the pet owner has no idea, because by law, the manufacturer doesn't have to state that there's starches and carbohydrates on the bag. The pet owner has no idea how many carbohydrates on the bag.
And that's not what dogs eat.
And that's not what dogs eat.
The diet for pets is far worse than the typical standard American diet. You may not know that, because they give them processed, usually dry dog food. And do you know what the primary component of most of that dog food is?
GMO grains, maybe?
You would think so. Actually, it's sugar.
Really?
Ranging anywhere from 40 to 60%. And even what apparently and ostensibly is the highest quality dry dog food.
Wow.
Yeah. So imagine that. Is it any surprise when you get, and that's not just dog food, it's pet food. I mean, I should have broadened the scope. But when you give your pet this dry, commercially produced food, it's one of the worst things you can do for them, like especially cats. The cats they are carnivores. They're designed to eat. That's what they do. Wild cats and barnyard cats, they're there for a purpose, and they don't eat grains and sugar. Will they? Yes, but if they do, it's just like humans, they'll suffer metabolic damage.
Oh, it's incredibly high carbohydrate. So in order to make a kibble stick as a kibble, you gotta have about 50% carbohydrates in there. So, and the new buzzword is grain-free, and so people come into me all the time, oh, I'm feeding a high-quality grain-free kibble. Really? And I say to them, do you think that's carbohydrate-free? Yeah, it's low carbohydrate. I'm like, no, it's not. It just doesn't have grain. It doesn't have wheat, corn, and soy.
Just a different source of carbs.
It has a legume, or it has a potato, or it has tapioca, but it's still a carbohydrate. It's a lot of carbohydrate.
So when we talk about, oh, my dog food's grain-free, great. Ask yourself a question. Melted chickens into sand goes into kibble. How do they get into kibble? It requires a starch. It requires a starch. So while there's no more corn, because we're all like, ooh, corn's bad for dogs. We've all aligned. Many people, most people understand that. So we're going to use peas. We're not going to talk about it because no one's thinking about it. So what you've done is you just create a giant piece of starch so your dog can eat it.
I got in trouble on a radio show once. I was a co-host on a show, and I said, well, a kibble diet's never going to work for a cancer patient. And she stopped the show and said, you can't say never. I said, well, I kind of feel like I can in this case. Like, in my practice, it's never going to work. It's sugar. We're feeding them sugar. And carbohydrates break down to sugar. I mean, it's a simple fact. That's as much as I hated organic chemistry, that's what it boils down to. Boy, did I hate that. Never thought I would have to use it. But yeah, it breaks down to sugar. And sugar, I mean, there's a lot of scientific evidence that shows that sugar feeds cancer.
High carbohydrates provoke insulinemia and hyperglycemia. And they are the two things that cause degenerative disease. And they both promote cancer. And nobody's recognizing this within the veterinary world.
Last year, I actually had 2 veterinary students that were very pro big box company, we'll say.
And they were so adamant in their passion for believing that what they were saying was true and that raw feeding was so bad. And yet, what's the most abnormal thing? I don't see dogs in the wild or cats in the wild or lions and tigers killing something and then turning it into a kibble. I don't think that happens. They don't stuff it in a can. They don't add preservatives, right? So we just have to stop being brainwashed into this fast, cheap, and convenient world that we've gotten so used to. We really have to start looking around and going, how did nature do it? And then can we mimic what nature does?
If we mimicked what nature does, we'd follow what dogs and cats eat in the wild. So, let me ask you this. What do animals eat in the wild?
You don't see wild dogs chewing on corn and wheat and grain. They are hunting other animals, coyotes and wolves. And that gives you a clue about the proper nutritional balance of your own dog, because your dog is not a vegetarian.
Dogs and wolves are like this for DNA. 99% match if you look at what's called the mitochondrial DNA. So what does a wolf eat in the wild? They eat prey, right? It's always fresh and it's alive and it's raw and it's balanced. They don't just eat the muscles and run off. They eat the bone, they eat the organ, they eat a little bit of digested vegetation that's been semi-digested. We can do things like that at home, but this bag of kibble, nothing like it. It's dead, it's full of toxic ingredients, and genetically speaking, the dog is saying, hey, you domesticated me and I'm cute and all, but digestively, I still got that call from within saying, where's prey?
The whole thing is convenience. You come home, you're working all day long. The dog is so happy to see you. Oh, and he's all excited. You throw the food into the bowl. The dog is just, really happy. Wolfs it down, right? Literally wolfs it down. And eats the same thing every day. You don't give him a variety. You come home and eat the same thing every day. You say, what the hell's going on here? I mean, why am I getting the same thing every day, right? Dogs did not evolve to eat the same thing every day either. So the whole thing is upside down again, feeding these dogs. And they're getting sick. And they're getting fat. They're getting all kinds of the same kinds of problems that we have as a species. They're suffering from the same maladies that we're suffering from. And do you think there might be a common link in what they're eating?
Dogs aren't buying the dog food, in the store. It's their owners that are buying that. So it's marketed to the owners. So when they see, potatoes and yams and snap peas and everything, this sounds good. But you don't find a dog out in the field digging up potatoes. They're normally running down some protein instead. So the digestion, not only what they eat, but then the ability to digest that is often very compromised because of what's in the food.
You just buy the bag of food. I mean, really, you just buy it, you pour it out. It's what your mom did. It's what you don't know any different. You're not thinking you shouldn't, or what else could you be doing? And here's the thing I'd like to tell people. When we're talking about those ingredients, like let's talk about your dog's label on the back and how the ingredients go from, a lot of people become educated, especially people watching this series, hopefully, but a lot of people understand that first ingredient is the most important ingredient, because on a dog food label, they do rank them from how much is actually weighted in the bag, from number 1 to 0, and to the last ingredient. And when you look at that first ingredient, you'll have people be like, oh, our first ingredient is chicken, and then maybe you'll see that second ingredient is usually byproduct or chicken meal. You'll see the word meal. And it's relatively a pleasant word, meal. I mean, we're going to have a meal later. We have a meal with my son, wheels on meals. I mean, meal, wow, what a pretty word. But let's talk about what meal is. I mean, basically picture taking the feathers, the talons, the beaks, everything of the chicken, and just dumping a bunch of chickens into a vat, and then cooking it super, super, super high temperatures, so high that by the time it's all done, it kind of turns into a cementy, gooey, slurpy, brown pot of yuckiness. I mean, literally, if you've ever seen it, it's yucky. It's disgusting, right? There's not a human on this planet, no matter what they price it out, that would scoop that out and give it to their dog. Maybe I shouldn't say a human on this planet. There's not a pet parent. That's the difference. Someone that views himself as mom and dad to their fur baby that would ever do that. Then they take that and dry it out and turn it into sand. It looks like sand. and it's brown sand. Your dog wouldn't eat it. If you put that in front of your dog, it'd be like, what? Oh, what? And they'd be confused. And again, you know, as I pause that, going back to what I was talking about the domesticated animals and what we're feeding them, like we brought them in, we're feeding them this crazy way of feeding, a vat with sand, okay? And then we put it together and we spray fat on it and we actually make it a color, which is hilarious because dogs are colorblind. So who's the color for? Who is the color for?
People buying it, right?
Exactly. So the color's for you. Why are they tricking you? What are they hiding?
It looks like you got a great variety of food in there.
Yeah, you just feel really good about it. You're like, it looks pretty. The dog is so opportunistic. It's so based on survival. It's such a predator. It's so committed to surviving. It might actually end up eating what we're talking about right now out of desperation. And you're paying a premium price for it. You're paying a premium price for something that your dog might eat if he had to survive.
If you're in the wild and you see an animal that eats what it knows to eat, no humans intervening, no veterinarian saying, hey, you need to eat this, cat or dog or whatever you are, they know what to eat. Do you find much cancer in the wild? Well, not unless they're hanging out around Chernobyl.
You won't see wild animals with chronic disease. It's unheard of. It's a man-made disease.
Could it be that kibble is actually part of our unknowing contribution to this man-made disease we call cancer? Let's continue with Dr. Will Falconer.
The common word is byproducts. What does that mean? Well, byproducts can include, and often does, the 4D meats. I don't know if you've run into that term, but 4D stands for dead, diseased, dying, or disabled cows when they come to slaughter, or pigs, or whatever. So that can't go to human consumption, but boy, the pet food manufacturers snap that up. It's a bargain. It's protein.
There's a broader problem with kibble, from my perspective, and from a lot of people's perspective, in that it's cooked. So when I come back to the ingredients in a second, but I want to start at the top level of understanding that kibble is cooked. And most people, I know I wasn't. I had never thought about how kibble was even made.
To manufacture high quality, human grade, excellent quality meat-based pet food is incredibly expensive. So 100 years ago, the pet food industry substituted excellent quality protein for rendered protein, which is really how we recycle the leftover pieces and parts from the human food industry. It goes into pet food. And then we use a lot of unnatural fillers, the corn, wheat, rice, soybeans. Now we're using grain-free options like a lot of potato, a lot of lentil, a lot of tapioca, a lot of starch, because meat's expensive. Right. So pet foods are really constituted of a lot of high carbohydrate, high glycemic index foods, along with some rendered protein and a synthetic multivitamin. We extrude those foods, which means we force them through a machine that creates the pellet. And extrusion in and of itself, it creates problems. When you heat protein to very high temperatures, you get a carcinogenic byproduct called heterocyclic amines. When you heat starch to high temperatures, you get a toxic carcinogenic byproduct called acrylamides. So every bag of pet food that has been extruded, which is dry or kibble, we call all the same word, those foods with every bite that you're feeding your pet contain known carcinogens.
And so if you take dry food, if you take dry kibble, for instance, for dogs, you cook that food at a high temperature. We get these things called advanced glycation end products, these AGE. These AGEs, these advanced glycation products, basically what they are is sugar, stuck on a protein molecule. So these then change the way that proteins work in the body. They cause inflammation. They cause free radicals to accumulate. They damage mitochondria. They cause mutagenesis, changes in the DNA, all this kind of stuff. So those advanced glycation end products, too much sugar, cooked with too much heat, mixed up with fat and all this other stuff. Now you have those in the food. You've got, if it's a grain-based food, you've got mycotoxins. You've got some unknown amount of glyphosate. And if you start looking, all these things target the mitochondria. So it's a realistic thing to say, wow, maybe that's part of why we're seeing increasing cancer rates in the animals and people both.
Dry dog and cat food, canned dog and cat food is far from optimal nutrition. And regardless of how good the ingredients were that went in the beginning, by the time it gets down that processing line, and it's been cooked and extruded at over 400 degrees, there is not only a lot of nutrition that's lost, but there's actually a lot of things that are produced chemically within that food that legitimately cause cancer. You know, a perfect example that I think a lot of people are aware of these days because it's in the news now are these things called advanced glycated end products. It's a kind of a mouthful, but the long story short is when you take proteins and sugars and fats and you cook them, there's this caramelization process, kind of like if you cook a steak and it browns on the outside, or you bake bread and it gets brown. The chemical compounds that are responsible for that browning, that caramelization, it actually causes cancer. And the problem that we have is there is an enormous amount of these compounds in dry dog and cat food, something to the tune of, I think the last statistic I saw was your average dog eating dry food or canned food eats 122 times more advanced glycated end products than people do on a daily basis. The figure for cats was something closer to 38 times more. But either way, if you think about it, every time these dogs are eating their food, they're eating an enormous quantity of cancer-causing chemicals. Just recently, there was a study that was published, a 26-year study. And the study wanted to find out why was the sperm count in males going down? Like they were becoming more sterile. They couldn't figure it out. 26 years of research, finally the answer just came out not too long ago. They were finding inside the testes of these dogs, when they drew it out, they were finding PCBs and they were finding phthalates. And so where on earth was this coming from? It took 26 years to realize that it was coming from the packaging of the pet food.
Wow.
They tested the pet foods and they found that within these pet foods there was massive loads of these PCB and phthalates, 4 times the legal amounts in these bags. And so of course our animals are consuming those.
Whenever we talk about the epidemic of health disorders within the animal population, pet population, there's a mirror reflection, you know, that we experience, you know, as humans. We're dealing with the same problems. And when it comes to actually the research that I've spent the past decade immersing myself in, what I find so interesting is that there is a specific experimental model where they take the Western diet, which is almost like the analogy of kibbles really for pets. You know, you have just dead, processed, starchy, usually wheat or soy, with some kind of protein as well, maybe from an animal product. And they will use that as a sort of a lethal force. They'll induce a disease state that's consistent with metabolic syndrome, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, and cancer. It will literally induce those symptoms and then you know, pathological processes in the body. So it is very true, I think, that we're becoming aware that ancestral diets and biologically compatible diets are the foundation for health, and that we shouldn't necessarily be looking into some obscure, you know, genetic explanation for what's going on with our pets' poor health. It's as simple as what we're putting in their dish every morning to feed them.
Look at all the pet owners who waste their time bringing their pets back and forth to vets with medical problems, number one, and spend so much money caring for their pets with medical conditions because they don't feed them healthy. It's like having a kid. Then you're responsible for then it's like having a family member with a sickness or a disease which ruins the quality of your life and their life, because your whole life revolves around doctors and procedures and medical, right? We have an American diet that couldn't be more cancer promoting had it been designed by Al-Qaeda.
What a telling quote from Dr. Joel Fuhrman, and I'd have to agree. It would be difficult to design a diet for humans or for pets that was more cancer-causing than the current SAD, standard American diet, and the current pet diet of cooked, rendered dead kibble. But the sad thing is that pet parents just do not know, and sometimes they suffer from guilt and shame over not being able to save their pet. Lori Taylor was one of those pet parents. She lost her Great Dane, Truman, to cancer, which was likely caused by a species-inappropriate diet of cooked, dead kibble. They had to put him down, and she was not able to be there.
And it was really hard because I want to say goodbye to him, you know. So I had to let him go, and I just never forgot that. Like I kind of had this feelings of guilt, of shame, like what could I have done differently? So I kind of became a maniac on a mission. My healing process was to make sure that the next dog, you know, I got when I was ready I would know everything. Like, I would be more interested and open to information about my dog's health, because up until that point, I looked back on it, like, you know, forensically, like, you know, looking at it from Monday morning quarterback, like, what could I have done differently? And the bottom line was, like many of us, I just went to the grocery store and I had a good budget. So I would look at all the top shelf dog foods, the expensive dog foods, and I would basically look for the one that sounded the best. Oh, lamb and cranberries, amazing. Or beef and chicken, la la la. You know, something they had these sizzling pictures on it and everything was amazing. And I bought that food and I never once looked and knew what the ingredients were. Never. I never stopped to ask, how'd they make the kibble? What's in the kibble? But once I did and dove into it, I was like, gross. What? How? Who? Why? What can we do? So for me, it's so funny, like emotional today. To me, my dog didn't get to die in vain. I needed it to have meaning because I felt like I let him down, you know, and I think other people think that. And I feel like my choice is his voice and I get to choose like his life depends on it, right? Because I love him and he loves me and he does everything he can for me. So why wouldn't I do everything I can for him? So because that happened for me, it became a mission almost to alleviate my guilt. Maybe in the beginning, like I wanted to make it meaningful and make it matter for other people. But as I got more and more into it and the products we started to develop and I started getting the testimonials, it became so much bigger than me and my dog. It became about the person's dog over in East Tennessee that thought their dog was going to die and now they started feeding them differently and they're still alive. Then it just got into my heart space, and I was like, I'm making a difference.
Yes, Lori is making a difference. And we all can make a difference and we all can help change the current paradigm. It begins with education, which is why we produce The Truth About Pet Cancer, and then hopefully that education will lead to action. I hope you learned a lot from episode number 2. Be sure that you tune back in for the next episode, number 3, where we will uncover the truth about pet vaccines. We're going to put vaccines under a microscope to determine which ones are necessary, which ones aren't, which ones are safe, which ones might be dangerous. What are some of the toxic hidden ingredients in those vaccines that we give our pets? And how often should you vaccinate your pet? I hope to see you there.
You know the word study, it means to look.
Yeah?
Yeah, it just means to look.
Yeah.
So if you want to study something, you have to actually look. You can't say like, I don't think that's the case, I don't want to know. So we actually said, let's just pull our records and look at cases that did considerably better than anybody expected them to do. And what we found out was not one of those dogs, we didn't look at this for cats, just dogs, not one of those dogs was on what's considered to be a balanced diet.
Kibble.
When I think of the dog, I think of, well, she doesn't eat organic, so I give her regular eggs. We have like a whole platter of eggs for the dog, and we have these real super expensive ones for us. And you brought it to my attention that basically we need to start thinking more about, if you want to have the impact that we have in ourselves and all the people that we advise, then we need to do the same things for the dog.